Psychological warfare. You take something that seems like it's not useful and you make it the most important thing ever. For this instance, we're talking about a homeless guy found dead on the streets of Wales that somehow helped us trick Hitler. This week on American Loser.
Fill her up!
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
On the edge they take the throne, built on bones of those unknown. Coming first, never last, still erased from the past. I am an American loser. No one remembers my name. No legacy and no future. One step behind in the game.
Oh, you guys know what time it is. Welcome back to American Loser. My name's KP Burke. We're telling you weird, messed up stories from American history. Mike Harrington already coming out hot, right? The theme song is still playing, and he goes, "Trickin' Hitler would be a great band name." And I think he's right on this one, folks.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Welcome back to another episode of the show. If it's your first episode here with us, you picked a great one. If it's not, welcome back. All right, we're talking psychological warfare. Everything we've been talking about has been leading up to this. You don't need to listen to the previous episodes if you don't want to, but you should. Check out the back catalog. We got everything in there for you. All you need to know about psychological warfare is that it is a force multiplier, and the idea is that you want to get inside people's heads, make them make mistakes. This shit goes all the way back to Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, and we're literally going to take what an old ancient Chinese warrior came up with, and we're going to see how it got used by the Americans and the British in World War II. Because when you have a great idea, it never goes out of style. Is that fair to say, Larry Burke?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What's old is new again. So we'll trick the new enemy with
Whooped him again, Josie.
That's right. There you go.
And fresh off his return from the White House UFC event, Michael Harrington. Welcome back, buddy.
How you doing, dude? We just had bread and circus, at a Coliseum. We have peace with the Persians. I think the Roman Empire is back, dude. It's incredible.
I'm loving all this one too, man. So I want to acknowledge real quickly Dom in the booth and Paco working hard. Paco, was that fast enough? And now we're into the content, baby.
Love it. Love it.
Speaking of Sun Tzu, couple good quotes here I pulled from The Art of War, which, by the way, is the playbook that all these guys read from. In the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. Sun Tzu. If the enemy leaves a door open, you must rush in. Sun Tzu. Me Chinese, me play joke, me go pee-pee in your Coke. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. War has evolved, folks, or more so, we've refined it. It doesn't really evolve. The end result of war is always going to be, do we need to fight? If we do, are we going to win the fight, right?
Yeah, we just figured out new ways of killing people, that's all.
Well, it was what we were talking about, too. Psyops is a weapon of peace. Is that not... we're going to attempt to control your mind, but it's the kinder, gentler machine gun hand.
That's right. There you go.
Uncomfortable to admit it that way, right? Harrington, you were kind of tripping me out about that. That it really is a force multiplier. Not only is a force multiplier, but it's a weapon of peace because you want to get them to not fight.
Well, it's like, look, it's messed up, especially in the day and age that we're in, where it's like everyone has bombs that can just end the fight like that. You know what I mean? Ooh. So it's like you kind of have to start, you can't ramp up force anymore, you need to start really messing with people's heads. Otherwise, it is mutually assured mass destruction.
You start to escalate and things get out of hand real quick.
Yeah. Whoa, dude, what did we do?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's too many cowboys in the saloon. Yeah. Everybody pulls the gun at the same time. And then now old school warfare was you hated your neighbor. That was just what it was. You hate your neighbor. That's always what. And then as war moved onto a global scale, now you can say, well, I still hate my neighbor, but I really hate the guy that lives behind him. Right? That's right. So now all of a sudden, World War I, if you want to talk about just like a lightning bolt in history, World War I at the start of it, these dudes are showing up. There's brass bands marching in with the French blue uniforms that they're fighting in the war.
Right.
They're taking horses onto the battlefield. Within a year or two of that war, The horses have been eaten. Okay. And then the band is all, they're gone. The blue uniforms are now covered in dirt and grime because you're engaged in trench warfare. And if there's a dog on your side in the trench, you're happy because he can kill some of the trench rats for you.
Right.
So we learned that was the first modern war in my mind. Was World War I started as we're going to have two pitched battles, armies facing each other, and then all of a sudden, boom! Like, no, modern warfare's here, guys.
Yeah, with World War I, if you're having your cavalry charge into machine gun fire, that's not going to work real well for the horses.
Oh yeah, Pete is going to get involved immediately. Are you guys killing horses during your war? I feel like you are.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, the First World War will end with the use of machine guns, airplanes, tanks, and trench warfare. And survivors of the war are going to learn a lot. And then, ironically, it is pretty funny that they call it the war to end all wars, and then we just do the same thing again. That feel like Pacquiao Mayweather. Just, you know what I mean? Like they say it's only going to happen once, and then all of a sudden, even worse. Rock Cena. John Cena versus The Rock.
Oh,
It's a once in a
How many
lifetime
times,
event,
yeah.
but we're going to do it again next year at the exact same event. So, yeah, Norm Macdonald said it best. You know the bit I'm going to talk about? Norm Macdonald, his final set on Letterman. He said, Germany had chosen as its opponent for a war the world.
Yeah.
And that had never been done before, but it was actually pretty close. So Germany was able to figure out their shit, and it takes about 30 years or so. The German war machine is very much rebuilt over here. And now you're taking guys that were veterans of World War I, and they are still alive. They are not able-bodied soldiers anymore, but now they can teach the young guys the lessons of, here's what went wrong for us in the trenches. What do we do to avoid trench warfare? You can't have this stagnant stuff here. And you have the rise, as last week we talked about with Edward Bernays, you now have people that are able to weaponize propaganda. So now you can control the way people are thinking. You can have propaganda, something as simple as having a giant poster showing a heroic man, come serve your country, be like this heroic man, showing what would be like modern propaganda? I was trying to think about this. If Sydney Sweeney endorsed the draft, I think, I'm not saying it would be popular, I'm saying it would work. There'd be people that signed up to simp out for her.
Well, so it's like it is little things. Like I'm seeing it in like modern day, like something like Sean Strickland making a big deal about trading in his Harley to get an Indian because Indian stands for like what men do, and then all of a sudden I'm at UFC and I see some people showing up in like the rainbow biker coat driving a Harley, and it's like, are we really you're just starting the next round of the culture war over what kind of motorcycle you're driving?
Right.
That's lame as hell, dude. You
that,
all suck.
That's actually an example of black propaganda where it's people that just don't want to be associated with that other person. They have too much heat on them, so you go in the opposite direction, which is really spiting themselves. LP, you're an older gentleman, okay?
Yeah.
Older than me, at least.
Couple of times around the sun, yeah.
That's right. Happy Father's Day to you,
Oh,
too,
thank
by
you.
the way, all right? This should
Happy
be
Father's Day to
I'm
you.
Happy
back
Father.
at you.
It's just three
Back at
dads.
you with
Literally, this podcast is just an IHOP on a Saturday morning. It's just three dads getting around together to talk about history, all right?
Talk about what time when things were a little better.
Back
than
in
they are
my
right
in
now.
my day.
Do you remember back in the day you just told your wife something and she didn't question it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if we can go there again? Like maybe if we could just get America back there again.
It's yeah. I mean, we really lost this country. That's my favorite one to hear. When did we lose it? I don't know, but we lost it. But yeah, it's the one I did hear that appealed to me the most is somebody told me, "Shit ain't been right since Tom Petty died."
Okay.
And I was like, wait a minute, he's right. How many terrible things have happened to us as on a global scale since Tom Petty died?
Was that 2012?
I want to say
Yeah.
it was part of that great summoning up to heaven of all the people. Yep.
Oh, it was 2017. Okay.
Yep.
A little bit later than that.
Yep. I believe he had I don't know, some sort of a heart attack or something. But yeah, real heartbreaker. I love you, Tom Petty. Survivors of the
Heartbreaker,
war.
I get it.
Yeah, slid it in there. Was it cheesy? Yeah. Yeah.
It works.
The key right now is we have military intelligence. So now it's not just like, hey, we have a room full of dorks that are going to help us hack into people's brains. It's now commissioned officers that this is their entire job is intelligence. You have some enlisted people where it's their job. And the reason you have an intelligence department is because you know the enemy has an intelligence department. So those two dorks are playing chess against each other, and the pieces just happen to be human lives on the front lines.
Yeah.
So
Well, military intelligence has always been, as long as you've had warfare, you've had, some form of military intelligence. But now we're taking that to another level with the Psyops. That we're trying to get into your enemy's head, kind of a thing. Not just knowing where your enemy is at or his location, but now you're going to feed into his head that hey, we're coming for you. It's not going to be good.
it's a very simple thing too. A fake jab in a fight, right? A fake jab knowing that you can't wait to counterpunch, right?
Right.
So you're going to make them react to that. We're just doing that on a bigger scale. We're going to say, hey, we're coming for you right here, so that you're not expecting, the shot to the ribs you're about to get. It's pretty interesting too. There's a couple intense examples of psyops in the Second World War. This one is the absolute best, though, because Sun Tzu said it the best. The real skill on a battlefield is not beating an army; it's getting one to surrender without a fight. Right? Now, we don't exactly pull that off over here, but that is the true. That's the true purpose of a psyop, is to see if you can get people to not even pick up the sword, let alone that they would have to put it
Right.
down.
It's useless to try even to put up a fight.
Yeah, don't bother trying to put us down, man. We're coming for you. It's big swinging dicks, and you're just gonna, maybe you'll be happier here. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Hitler had fought in World War I. A lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
That was why his voice was
Corporal.
damaged. He was a corporal.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I knew that he was involved with trench warfare, and then obviously he's a wounded war hero, so that's going to build you some instant celebrity status. When
He
you're,
was also gassed during the First World War.
That's why his voice was messed up, right?
Really?
Yeah.
You got it with mustard gas?
Yeah.
Mustard gas. The Germans will put mustard on anything.
That's right. Bratwurst. Yeah.
Oh, it was. It's really interesting to see it too, because Hitler did fight in trench warfare, so he doesn't want trench warfare because they're like, listen, what are we going to do to not make that same mistake? And if you're talking about trench warfare, how slow it is, you make one giant leap forward, right? I mean, imagine, put yourself in the trench for a second. You hear the whistle and you have to run forward into no man's land.
Right.
And then if you don't get enough people over there to the next set of trenches, you just have to run back to your shitty old trench where you were. And you're like, all right, finally, I'm back to safety where I'm going to die of disease.
And half of you guys died in the middle between the front lines. Yeah.
There's stories. I'll go out on record here, folks. If you are ever in a trench next to me and I get dropped and I'm not able to make it back to the trench and I'm still alive and I'm yelling out to you to just end me, I'm looking for it, okay? I'm begging for it at that point,
Yeah.
all right? Paco will do it. Paco actually, he's shown a lot of restraint. He's tried to end me twice when I looked at ticket sales at Soul Joel's the one time. And I said, Paco, end it to me. Take me out back and put me down, dude.
That's it.
And Paco goes, don't worry, you'll sell tickets back
They
in North
shoot
Jersey.
horses, don't they?
He keeps telling me KP's my friend.
Yeah, he goes, don't worry, you're going to sell a lot of tickets with Chris Faga at Tri-State Comedy Club up in White Plains, New York. What date is that? July 20th? It's on Punch Up Live, folks.
I believe it's July 24th.
July 24th, Punch Up Live. Check it all out over there. The answer to the slow, tedious pace of trench warfare, the Germans are going to come up with something pretty cool. You guys, you know the answer to this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's they called up LT.
That's yeah, their version of Lawrence Taylor in the backfield. Blitzkrieg, folks. Blitzkrieg. They're going to take lightning and warfare and put it together into one extra terrifying German word. You're combining blitz with Krieg, and the effect is, it pretty much takes over all of Europe. I wish I was exaggerating. It is lightning warfare.
Lightning war.
So I was going to ask about that. It's like the what is the evolution of war, like the refining of war to move from like it seems you're established, right? Like it's for years and years, it's fighting in columns, I mean, going back to like the Roman phalanx or whatever. And then now with the advent of World War I, you're digging up trenches. The way around that is just, we're going to keep moving. We're never setting our feet down. We're just going to keep rolling
moving
through
forward.
everything.
Right.
Take Genghis Khan and the way that they rode their horses like maniacs, and you couldn't keep up with them. They called them a horde for a reason, right?
Right.
You had no idea how many of their numbers were. replace Genghis Khan's horses with Hitler's horsepower, and that's
Okay.
essentially what Blitzkrieg was. It was nonstop. That was psychological warfare because how can you're creating chaos and confusion. That's the Sun Tzu quote that I pulled from the beginning. In chaos, there's opportunity. They're going to make mistakes. People are going to surrender right away. We don't have a chance to mount a defense.
Right.
How the hell are we going to keep up with this? Also, the Germans are using shit we've never seen before. What the fuck is a Panzer?
Right.
You're just minding your own business.
And airplanes and artillery and everything. I mean, they were coming at you with whatever they had, and they were just completely overwhelmed. I mean, when Hitler invaded Poland, it was over in 2 weeks. They didn't have time to dig a trench, much less
Right.
think about trench warfare to form a defensive fortification. They just came right at him and got right on rolling. And
It's just constant. You're just going to throw bodies at the problem.
Right.
Like, we're just going to keep pushing forward no matter what. Pressure.
right.
You can't analyze a weakness in these people because you
Right.
haven't figured out. This is the supreme German war machine is at its height from like 1939 to maybe 1943, and it's terrifying too because they were wildly effective, man. I mean, it is. People still study them to this day to learn what they did that was so effective, and literally, we're running out of survivors.
Right.
Living people to tell the details. So we're still studying that playbook. That's how effective it was.
But there is wasn't there a bit of like that Sun Tzu thing where it's like, oh, this German war machine is coming. You've heard about how, they just ran through Poland in 2 weeks. Like how much fighting was there actually on the ground in Paris by the time they got there, And like how much of that was just like, all right, like you win, you know what I mean? Like you guys control the territory now. We'll figure it out.
There's a couple things from our first episode on this Psyop thing about psychological warfare that Hitler actually was pretty genius with. Also, last week we mentioned Leni Riefenstahl, who was the female filmmaker, and whenever women want to talk about a female filmmaker, they seem to always forget about Leni Riefenstahl, who created the idea that Hitler was a god amongst his people and stuff.
Right.
But what Hitler did that was so smart. One thing he did was in Greece. There's actually a day they celebrate in Greece that is Hitler, when he did take over Greece, showed them the utmost respect and said, this is the bedrock of civilization. You guys created the West that I'm trying to preserve. And you're like, I know you just conquered us, but like compliments just go so far sometimes.
Really? Yeah. That's nice to hear, but you know what? Get the hell out of my country, will you?
He's a little silver-tongued devil, that guy.
Yeah,
He was riding through my town with a bloody sword, but he told me he loved my shoes, and you know what? That meant something.
Well, then there's the famous pictures that he was taking of himself in Paris, where he was showing it. He goes, by the way, I just want to let you know, like France is mine. I'm in the heart and the epicenter of your country. Everything you have pride on right now. Here's a photo of me posing. It's literally like a UFC fighter just going over a guy he just knocked out and just going like that into the camera, just doing one of these. Hitler wanted you to know he threw the knockout punch and then he was prepared to. What's next, folks?
Right.
What's your next move?
I mean, he just overran Poland and going into Belgium, and the French were trying to form defensive lines, thinking that Germany's coming for us. And Hitler just went around their defenses and went through the Ardennes forest, and there was nobody there, but they just blasted right through there. That it was over before it even started. That the French weren't really able to mount any kind of defense because he just blasted right through the Ardennes, and there was no real fight for Paris.
Right.
They gave up Paris. And shit, he's unstoppable. So we'll just.
What a message you're sending to the would-be insurgents to say, I'm here now, though. Look what I did. And then that is his Sun Tzu moment of saying, Paris is mine now.
Right.
And you have the French underground. They're pretty badass. They're going to be instrumental in the eventual D-Day landings. But it is a psychological blow where you're like, this might be the enemy we can't stop. And the irony that Blitzkrieg Bop is a fast and ferocious song that barely lasts 3 minutes, right? And a Blitzkrieg is just boom, boom. Like it's
In your face.
Well, we've never seen anything like this before. So we're studying the shit out of them.
Did Paris fall during World War I?
No.
No.
Right. So it's like that seems like it is a massive psychological blow to be like, hey, remember when you sacrificed 1 million people to stop us from gaining an inch? We're already the Eiffel Tower is ours, homie.
Right. Right.
This time we're not playing any games.
Yeah,
Michael.
right.
It's a trippy one, man. We're gonna have to do. And by the way, the United States. I didn't know this. I learned this in reading about Mayor Fiorillo LaGuardia. LaGuardia, a very interesting guy. His statue's right over there, down by the Comedy Cellar. It's
New
a
York
life...
City mayor.
Yes, New York
For
City.
those who
mayor.
don't know.
Sorry. Well, thank you, LP. But yeah, he's an interesting guy because I believe his statue is life size, and you can like literally kind of see over it if you go on your tippy toes. He was not a big dude, but LaGuardia was. He actually had to have a bunch of interactions with the Nazi Party before the United States entered the war, which I thought was interesting because he had family members that were over in Europe that were trying to get out of being detained, if you will.
Okay.
So the other part of this
Was he not Italian?
He's an Italian Jewish guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
So it was the Nazi Party, or was it like the Mussolini's fascist party?
they just describe it that he was trying to get family brought back home, from what I read. But he also deserves his own episode, absolute future topic. without a
Okay.
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
But he's a character for a couple of reasons. But he's also, dude, we didn't care about World War II. We obviously the United States is going to enter because of Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, wasn't Hitler already boots on the ground in Poland when they were doing Nazi rallies at MSG?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was what actually
Yes.
broke the great pull, by the way. We truly don't care. We think he's a little funny. Like the American opinion on Hitler's like, yeah, he's kind of a dork. He dresses up in fatigues all the time, like he's doing a strong man.
Funny
thing.
little guy with a mustache. He looks like Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Chaplin on roids.
And
That's
he was
what he
a
looks like.
corporal in the First World War, and then after the First World War, I think for a time he was a wallpaper hanger. So he didn't have a real macho image to.
Yeah, I bet like the Catskills comics of the day must have been like, can you believe Poland surrendered to a corporal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like
right.
there must have been that kind of like ribbing of Hitler as like a goofball
Right.
from American eyes.
I would also love if Charlie Chaplin, who was one of the most famous men on earth, and then Hitler, who's become one of the most infamous men on earth, but they both did don the same mustache. It would be great to get the two of them on a podcast together, but they just talk about art and like their creative process. I don't know if you know this, Charlie. I'm a little bit of a painter. I love painting. I do landscapes.
Yeah.
But it's trippy because there's a couple things that they have to get into. We don't really care about Germany. We're concerned on our government is concerned about Japan, right? But we're not, like, we don't actually have a strong opinion about Hitler until he invades Poland. And then half the country says, you got to stop these motherfuckers.
Right.
The other half of the country's like, dude, we'd love to, but we're German. Can we please not go kill our cousins?
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't we have a massive German immigrant population at the time?
Big time German American population, absolutely.
It was huge. German printed newspapers was, I think, the second most popular language for newspapers back then. It was the callback to the fatherland was affected too. A lot of American-born Germans went back to Germany to go fight for the fatherland. That's how good their
Right.
propaganda
In World
was.
War II.
And
Yes.
For World
Whoa.
War II. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So you're born in Eugene, Oregon, right? But you get a call for the fatherland. That's the effect of Goebbels' propaganda: is come back and fight for this is your birthright, Germany.
I wonder how much of that was loserception, the bunt camps, like the
Oh, a
we're
lot of
gonna
that. Absolutely.
we're gonna like
They were
basically
parties.
have Hitler Youth programs for summer camps in America, and like you got these kids from 13 to 16. So when war breaks out and they're 17,
Right.
why wouldn't they?
He's already setting up, the recruitment is
Right.
for in the United States. Absolutely.
That
But
big
in the
rally.
United States, though, in the United States, there was two really different political viewpoints. One was neutrality. We don't want to get involved with anything going on with Europe. We just lost how many Americans in the First World War saving Europe that we want to stay the hell out of Europe's problems. And the other half was we got to stop Hitler, and he's for liberty and freedom and everything else, that we got to stop the fascists, the revolt. I mean, they already took Poland. He's already controlling Italy for the most part through Mussolini. at that early stages of the Second World War too. I mean, Russia was with the Germans, so I mean, it was us against them kind of a thing. Yeah, and then you throw in the Japanese, and like, holy shit, this is truly a world war on so many different fronts. That it wasn't just one front like typical wars up until that point in time, and the Second World War was also, you knew who your enemy was. It wasn't like later wars in Vietnam where you're now walking out into the jungle trying to find your enemy.
Right.
Or the kid that's selling you apples on the street during the day is the same kid that's trying to slit your throat at night. It's not two armies lining up against one another in Vietnam, where at least in the Second
You're
World
wearing
War,
proper
you had
uniforms.
that. Yeah, right.
You're right, because there's
You can identify your enemy by what uniform he's wearing.
Yeah, and there's also it's a proper war in that sense that they're declaring the enemy, right? It's not all nonstop guerrilla stuff.
It's also very funny to call the First World War a world war when it just involved Europe. You know what I mean? Like, America got involved at the very end, sure, but it's like Africa's not involved in World War I, are they?
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh,
A little bit. There's and then Turkey.
Yeah.
That the Ottoman Empire was
Right.
some real sons of bitches.
Okay, fair enough. All right,
Right.
it counts as a world war
And
then, I guess.
and at the time frame of the First World War, it wasn't known as the First World War. It was known as the Great War.
The war to end all wars.
Yeah, the Great War.
I'll give you one. Here's this is a psychology term called no true Scotsman. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Neither of you have heard of this?
No.
All right. No true Scotsman is, I forget the exact term for it, but what it is that you say, if they're like, oh, this is, I think it's, well, no true Scotsman would do it that way. And you're like it could be something as simple as you ordered a cup of tea and you're like, I like to put sugar in my tea. Well, no true Scotsman would put sugar in his tea. And you're just implying that whatever you're doing is not genuine.
Right.
Now you're appealing to something that doesn't really exist. You're just trying to belittle the person.
Right.
So that's a psychological thing. So
Right.
that falls right into Bernays with all of his advertising stuff. Now, interestingly enough, Bernays is going to be one of the minds that we're tapping here because you have to create, we have to get an idea. We got to do some recon on our enemy now because Blitzkrieg's working a little too well.
Yeah.
Right.
We're studying Hitler before we're involved in the war because we're like, if we have to fight this guy, what are the weaknesses?
Like
Yeah,
Batman.
well, the U.S. is paying attention to world news. I mean, this guy just invaded Poland. He took over the Sudeland. He took over Belgium. He took over France. He took over Norway. We've already gone through Dunkirk, where it was a major miracle, really, by the grace of God, that we were able to get some of our Allied forces off of France and back home to England. So the next step for Hitler is to invade England.
Right.
And they were anticipating that was what was going to happen next. Hitler, did make a mistake in the fact that he stopped bombing industrial sites and military sites, and then started bombing the civilian population, started bombing London and everything else with the Battle of Britain. And it wasn't, that's where Churchill starts coming into play, because, the British realized, hey, whoever our leaders were while Hitler was rising to power just kind of folded.
Neville Chamberlain.
Neville Chamberlain.
Neville Chamberlain kept saying, sure, Mr. Hitler, whatever you need, I think we can find a gentleman's agreement
As
here.
long as you promise not to do, you don't want anything more than just Poland or whatever. Yeah, it was.
He was a classy, kind of posh dude who just was appeasing Hitler constantly. And then Churchill comes in a little more, Jason Psyop.
Well,
never surrender.
Churchill was anti-Hitler right from the get-go. I mean, early on he was very vocal about.
Or never
we gotta
liked
stop.
him.
All right, right. Or to be fair to Netherlands too, that his country just lost how many millions of men from the Great War, from the First World War, that nobody was anxious to go fight the Germans again 30 years later. That's still fresh in everybody's mind as to
It's the sons
what Dad
of...
and what Grandpa went through to
Exactly.
from 30 years ago.
Well, was there any sense, was Neville at all like a bleeding heart type where he's like, well, we'll give him back Poland, that's fine, because we were really awful to them in the Treaty of Versailles. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. Like, was there that kind of sentiment where, you have that revisionist history where, the more bleeding heart liberal types are like, we kind of did get, like they were able to look at things in the light of day that we are now and say, hey, we gave them a pretty raw deal. Like,
I heard a comp that I liked for Neville Chamberlain to Winston Churchill, and it's not perfect, but it gets the point across to viewers who don't really know this. It's like when the United States went from Jimmy Carter to Ronald Reagan.
Gotcha.
And you were like, oh, the Cowboys are back, baby.
Right.
Ronald Reagan's just spinning dually pistols, letting you know.
That's it.
That corporations are going to run wild on this country for the next 50 years,
Well,
brother.
it's bedtime for Bonzo, motherfuckers.
Right.
So we're studying these guys because we're prepared for this now, right? We're seeing mistakes that are being made over there. And by the way, once you attack Britain, the special relationship between the United States and England, it had been growing since Teddy Roosevelt's presidency. It's probably at its strongest around this point here. Where like come on, man, these are like our cousins. You can't mess up like that's hitting close to home when you're affecting over there.
Only we're allowed to fight England.
Yeah, it's like come on, it really is one of those ones where you're like, come on, man, it's a brothers fight sometimes, but you're not our brother.
Right.
So, the United States is doing active research on this, and they start to realize that they have all these different intelligence communities. You have naval intelligence, you have army intelligence, you have states at state level, and State Department type thing for all these various different intelligence agencies. We should streamline them and coordinate it. Mike Harrington, you grew up around the same time frame as me. Were you a Medal of Honor guy on PS1?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I remember we played that game, and I was sitting there, I was like, this is exactly what Grandpa Marty went through. Meanwhile, it's all this highly pixelated little things, but it's guys running on the beach in Normandy. But you are actually a member of this group in the Medal of Honor video games. It's the creation of what's going to be known as the OSS, or the Office of Strategic Services.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and that was it. Like, that was the worst loadout, too, was the OG OSS loadout. It was like, this stinks.
Well, what they did is they picked kind of the best and brightest, if you will, from the different intelligence communities, and they said, get on board, everybody speak the same language.
So wait, what define like intelligence communities at that time? It's like what, the FBI?
No, well, there was FBI, but they were handling domestic stuff.
Right.
And everybody had their own branch of intelligence, if you will. The Army had theirs, the Navy had theirs, the State Department had theirs. I mean, everybody, but nobody was really working with one another. They were all, siloed, closeted kind of a thing that nobody was really sharing the wealth. And it was President Roosevelt, who saw what was going on in Europe.
FDR, by the way, just for...
Yeah, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He saw what was going on with in Europe and in the Pacific with the Japanese. So they're obviously getting a little frisky too, taking over half of the Pacific.
You told me they stole our playbook, by the way. Japan stole our playbook.
Yeah.
They're like, just start war, see what happens.
Right.
That's how American imperialism happens. Start a war, see what happens.
Right. Well, and then we're getting into the whole manifest destiny kind of a thing with America, but that's a different time. But
was that Japan's like official policy at the time? Is like we rule all of Asia? Like all of Asia is going to be under Japanese
It's
control.
going to be ours, and it's tough shit. Okay. Nobody's going to stop us.
There's one thing that happens to best understand, and Paco, who is of Japanese descent, and it's why I respect him, it's why I fear him. This is 100% true, 100% true. The samurai were disassembled sometime prior to Imperial Japan. And what they did was that they said, you are no longer a samurai, you are now going to all have a different government job. And we're going to, because they needed to trade with the West. So we can't have this warrior culture anymore and, half-naked women paintings all over the place. We need to show the West that we can be assimilated to the way that they do things for business purposes. So they disassemble the samurai, and they put them all into different government jobs. So you have a guy that's been trained to kill, and if you slaughter his master, he's going to hunt you to the ends of the earth with his katana blade. And now you're saying, you're in charge of the post office.
That's right.
That's literally, that honest to God, that's what happened. And all of a sudden, they're like, we have the greatest post office we've ever had. We have not had a train not on time. We have the greatest bus driver, the greatest, because it's all samurai that are running all these things. Because they're like, well, we're not going to just set you free. We're going to just give you a new job. That leads to this military-style Imperial Japan that we're actively afraid of because they're just I mean, it's there's a reason they got along so well with the Nazis. I'll put it that way. They were like, oh, you guys are just here to just beat the shit out of everybody all the time because no one's got it figured out like us. We understand you. Also, by the way, great pivot move that Hitler was able to be like, so the Aryans are the master race, but Japan, pretty cool guys, having a good time. Everyone love vacations on the islands. So,
Yeah.
but for those who don't know, by the way, the OSS is going to be formed in 1942, like you were saying.
No, it's before that.
42 is when I have it officially formed.
Roosevelt started to get a little concerned about what was going on in Europe and the Pacific, and he starts appointing people to find out a little something about how do we go through this whole intelligence service, and he appoints a former general, this guy William Donovan.
Wild Bill.
William Wild Bill Donovan, and he had a lot of prior experience with British intelligence. And the Brits have been fighting Germany now since 39. Well, even before that. So, the British have a little more experience with this intelligence gathering kind of a thing, and they did a better job of kind of centralizing their intelligence services rather than the Navy's got a branch, the Army's got a branch, everybody's got a a thing, but nobody's really sharing stuff, sharing secrets. So this guy Wild Bill Donovan's
It's like getting a group of women
is
to get
appointed
along.
by Roosevelt to start this OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, and he is the outline, the game plan, the template, if you will, is set up by a guy, Charles Dick Ellis. There was a lot of people that felt that Ellis was really the guy that was running the show for the Americans, and it was really going through Donovan. But that was, again, it's your little brother kind of a thing. That let me get you up to speed here in this whole intelligence game. But they were following the Brits' game plan, if you will, as to how to set this whole thing up. And this is no longer a military kind of a thing. There's a lot of very intelligent people from the civilian life that are now involved with the OSS, with William Wild Bill Donovan being the head of this new department. Yeah.
Which, by the way, will be the precursor to the Central Intelligence Agency. The OSS, I don't know if you know this, Harrington, gets disbanded about a month after VJ Day. They're like, hey, great job on military intelligence. We have no use for this moving forward. So you guys just go back to your civilian jobs. Thank you for your service to your country. And about 2 weeks, they're like, all right, listen, Russia's scary. We're going to need some work done on this guy.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the Soviets are getting a little too frisky. So now now that the Second World War is over, now we need to get a little more intelligence on our new enemy, but we can't call them enemy because they're they helped us win.
Yeah, we just
the
won a
Second
World War together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody's really trusting the Soviets.
Well, we also had another very important intelligence agency that was created on the exact same day, coincidentally, by some of the same people. And they still work hand in hand to this very day.
Oh, you're talking Mossad.
Yep.
Yeah, you just didn't want to say it.
No. Why would we ever?
I respect that. I call it most sad.
Yeah.
Most sad.
No, I mean, it is just crazy how many of the OSS disbanded, and then coincidentally, just a couple of weeks later, those two intelligence agencies started on the exact same day, led by the same people who were just running the OSS. And we're meant to believe that those have always been two very distinct, separate agencies with their own country's best interests at heart, and not a shadow government that's been running.
You're picking the best and the brightest for these things too, right? There's a reason. You can be a hired gun if you're good enough at this. And that's, by the way, I'm glad you mentioned too that they're bringing in civilians, because that actually sets us up for what I think is the craziest little shop note I've ever had to put into an episode, Dad. In the OSS, you're going to need different kinds of soldiers. You want farm boys from Kansas that can shoot straight. They're going to be great out on the front lines. But a guy with a name like, Throat Slitter McGee is not exactly going to be like, hey, here's your typewriter, buddy.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Write a report.
Yeah, give me a nice composite on bipolar disorder,
Right.
amongst the German ranks. So now you don't want guys that can shoot straight for this kind of job, but you are curious about hiring biochemists with doctorate degrees from Harvard. So you're not exactly going to throw those guys onto the front line. You're going to put them in an office, which leads us to Harvard and Columbia educated Henry Murray. Henry Murray, by the way, is a man, again, with a doctorate, like I said, and a fascination with people's minds. He really heavily studied Carl Jung.
Okay.
Looks like Jung, but it's Jung.
Yeah, Jungian psychology.
That is that's a book that I had that was given to me by a professor that I always kept on me because I wanted like a girl to come to my place and see that and be like, oh, he's really smart. I was like, I have no idea what's in that.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, I probably have an Elle Macpherson Playboy stuffed inside of that. But
there you go.
So, he, along with several others, this is crazy because this is how the FBI does profiling now to this day. This profile that they come up with, it's the first major psychological profile in American history. We showed the world the best way to do a psych profile.
Whoa.
It's still being used today. If you watch CSI, any sort of a serial killer show or something like that, they're borrowing from techniques that were discovered in what became in a way, the first psychological profile on a massive serial killer in Adolf Hitler. So they are studying the shit out of everything about Hitler. This profile is completed in 1943, and its accuracy is legendary. They are able to predict, this guy Henry Murray and a bunch of others are able to predict if Germany is to lose this war, Hitler will more than likely end his own life rather than be captured.
Okay.
They're sitting down, they're doing interviews with people that know him, they're studying everything that they can learn about him, his early life, stuff like that. They also wildly accuse him of being a homosexual, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, happy Pride, folks. Hitler was one of you.
Yeah, that's your team.
Yeah, they're not all,
So we got to put a swastika on the rainbow flag now, or what?
LGBTQN.
Did they do that?
Wouldn't shock me. I think that was.
I think they did at one point use rainbow symbolism for something.
Well, again, Hitler was oddly cool with lesbians. Lesbians
Yeah?
were allowed to serve as enlisted members of the Nazi Party.
Interesting.
There's some very strange. It was wildly progressive as it was barbaric.
I saw a pretty gruesome Happy Pride stat about this. Allegedly, during World War II, if you were in the camps and you were in the camps for being a homosexual, they would put a pink triangle on your jumper.
Whoa.
And they said that when the Allies came to free the camps, guys with the pink triangles, just leave them in their cells. They're chilling, dude. We have, the Germans might have had the right idea with those guys, and it wasn't until way later that the homosexuals were freed.
Wasn't it the guy from Star Trek? No, the Asian guy from Star Trek.
George
Takei. He always corrects you on the pronunciation. I believe he says his first homosexual experience was in a Japanese internment camp in America.
Oh, God.
That an older Asian man came to him and they had a moment, if you will, which is, depending on how you want to define it, wildly illegal.
Right.
But yeah, apparently.
No, I agree. The internment never should have happened.
Yeah.
It was wrong on every level.
Yeah, come on, man. We're doing a great thing here, and you guys are going to ruin it with gays. But I do wonder this one. Was it a psyop or psychological warfare thing that they could paint a picture that Hitler was going to be gay just to piss Hitler off a little bit? Or did they really believe that he was, because there was a lot of gay members of the party. That was another weird thing about them.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's like they nailed everything else about him. Why not that? You're really going to draw the line and say, no, the one thing they got wrong is he didn't like sucking dick? Come on, man.
Yeah, and when he loses, he's going to get all catty and dramatic about it. Well, Murray takes this psych profile experience with him. This is a quick off note here. Psych profile, he helps create it. He coins the term for it. It's insanely accurate. Brings it back to Harvard with him because after World War II, he's no longer required for service. This is an older man who came back to serve his country and used his brain instead of his brawn. Goes back to Harvard, and his research will continue. He begins a harsh, now deemed unethical experiment on his students at Harvard. He will subject them, Harrington already knows where we're going here, he subjects them to pretty much mental torture to see how they fared under intense scrutiny and nonstop criticism. And he found out that certain people respond differently to it. One of his test subjects was a very young teenage boy who was actually of high school age that had graduated early from high school and gotten into Harvard, named Ted Kaczynski, who will become the Unabomber. So yes, this guy was able to tell you, within a matter of fact, that Hitler is. Here's your psych profile on Hitler. I also accidentally made the Unabomber. Real sorry, that's a wash, folks. Henry Murray,
Right.
1 and 1. All right.
Oops, I slipped on that one.
But in 1942, Hitler is at the peak of his powers. The Allies are going to need a couple things to go their way before you can even think about the idea of storming the beaches of Normandy. Things have to be lined up before D-Day can ever become a possibility. LP, this leads us to a little thing that the British pull that we call Operation Mincemeat.
Mincemeat. Yeah, but the British, I mean, by 42, we're things are turning around a little bit anyhow. I mean, America is now in the war since December 7th, 1941. That's when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. We're knocked back on our heels, but now we're starting to regroup, if you will, and form a defense. We've already had some victories in North Africa with Patton helping us out with that.
We sent in our badass to sort
General
some shit
George
out.
Patton, yeah, the cowboy comes in and starts kicking some ass. And we're now having some positive strides. We're not really ready to liberate all of Europe, but we're working towards that. And we started in North Africa, which the Germans held for a good many years now, and now we're going to get ready to invade Hitler's Europe, which is pretty much all of Europe at this point in time, whether it's Mussolini's Italy, but Germany's really calling the shots. So we're going to try to get some inroads into Europe, and where are the Allies going to invade? So Hitler is.
He knows an attack's coming.
Yeah,
where is it?
He knows it's coming, but he doesn't know where it's coming from. So, of course, you're trying to attack the weakest point of Hitler's defenses, of just trying to figure out where that might be. And the British.
Do you identify the weak? This is a great question. I'm sorry to interrupt. Do we identify the weakness that he himself fears is his weakness? That's the thing. That's the beauty of intelligence, is you're trying to find out what are they actually afraid of.
Right.
Because what I read was that Hitler was absolutely afraid. He goes, I don't know if I can keep the Balkans. If they hit me in the Balkans, that's going to hurt pretty bad. Okay?
Yeah,
So if they
anybody gets hit in the Balkans,
Exactly.
it's going to say ouch.
Yeah, give him a 1-2 down in the Balkans, and then see what happens.
There
Here he
you
goes.
go.
If we can wear a cup or something
Yeah,
to
kick
protect
him in the
his ear.
Balkans, and we'll see what happens.
So Hitler's nervous about the Balkans, but you're right. We don't know where the attack is coming from.
Well, Hitler doesn't know. The Germans don't know where it's coming from.
Oh yeah, I just said we like I'm on their team.
Yeah.
Whoops, I'm Irish. They wouldn't have had me.
The British intelligence comes up with this idea that they're going to, and at this particular point, OSS is in full steam ahead. They've got agents all over the place, and OSS is not only trying to gather intelligence, but they're also feeding
False intelligence.
people that are going to try to be blown up. The underground is being helped out by the OSS, that they're sending in agents. They're working double agents. There's all kinds of stuff going on. There was an ambassador from Japan who's now in Germany, and they were able to intercept a lot of his messages that he's sending back to Japan, that anything that he sent out back to Japan, they were intercepted and were able to read. And we're talking about psyops. Hitler had some stuff going on. I mean, both sides are doing this whole psychological warfare kind of a thing. Early on in the war, Hitler gave the okay, and this Japanese ambassador was in full agreement with that if the German U-boats sink a merchant ship or an enemy ship, whatever ships are sunk, any of the survivors, shoot the survivors. That if the submarine sinks the ship, have the submarine come up to the surface and then kill everybody in the lifeboats that were able to come off of that.
That's like
Because-
very against military code. No?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's not playing fair in the game of war.
Just picture a U-boat popping up next to the Titanic and just seeing Rose on the door. Hang on 1 second, sweetie. All right.
Because the Germans' attitude was, well, the Americans can maybe build more ships, but are they going to be able to find trained seamen to sail the ships? And if you're shooting all the merchant marines, right? The guys weren't even in the Navy; they were in the merchant marine kind of a thing. How many guys are going to be looking to sign up? Hey, I'm going to be a merchant marine.
Right.
If the Germans are killing them, it worked against them, and the Japanese were in full agreement with that. That you shoot the survivors. And the same thing with Hitler wanted to. Any pilots that were shot down, he wanted a public execution of the pilots. So because he's thinking, well, recruitment into the Army Air Corps, into the Air Force is not going to be real outstanding if they come to understand. I mean, there's a psychological warfare on both sides going on here. But it was the British intelligence that came up with this idea that we're going to feed Hitler some false information that our intended landing zone, if you will, for the invasion of Europe is going to come about by a roundabout way that.
Can I tell you where the idea came from? This is great. Harrington, did you know anything about this, by the way? Brother, this is pure comedy. This should be a sketch that we're shooting with Blind Mike.
Okay.
It's so good. The British have actually pulled this same prank off, if you will. I'm calling it a prank because it's not really. It shouldn't be called an op. It's this funny. The idea is very simple here. It's actually taken from an American officer that wrote the book on this. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I found this. So it's known. The officer that wrote this book, Harrington will appreciate this. The officer's name was Godfrey. So picture Godfrey authoring this. It's something that's known as the Trout Memo, and that's where this guy wrote something where he kind of was talking about like fly fishing and war compared to, and he had a great idea here. The idea is simple, and he even admits in this Trout Memo, he goes, this is a little bit of a gross idea. It's not the most pleasant thing we can come up with, but what if we were to plant intentionally bad intelligence on a dead body and let the dead body be recovered? The enemy will think that they've hit the mother lode of intelligence because the corpse cannot be questioned for authenticity. They would have to treat this intelligence as if it was real. Brits have pulled this off before. They were saying that they had a minefield in a certain place, and like, oh, here's where we're going to plant a map that says British units go this way to avoid the minefield. And then the Germans followed it and thinking that they had this correct. They went right into the minefield. So we've planted fake maps and shit before.
Right.
So the British have pulled it off a couple of times, but never on this scale. Harrington, you've been to Austin, Texas recently. Yeah. The homeless are a problem.
There's a few who, there's some choice homeless down there for sure.
What if we started properly utilizing the homeless for psychological warfare purposes?
Listen, I think that's what they're currently being used as a psyop against like us. You know what I mean? Just feed them fentanyl and fill them with conspiracies, and they'll keep people going to work.
I believe you too on that, Paco. You got homeless people you have to deal with. You've been to Port Authority recently. Instead of them giving you fake directions or asking for $20 to tell you what gate your bus is coming to, couldn't we use them to maybe win a war?
Dude, if you can control them, you can control the world.
I believe Roddy Piper helped solve us with that one in the movie They Live, directed by John Carpenter. He's right, by the way, if you could control them on this one. Homelessness is a sad thing, okay? But this one particular homeless man is going to help us trick Hitler, okay? His death via eating rat poison, okay? That was the old-timey fentanyl, I suppose.
Okay, there you go.
Guy's name is Glinder Michael. Glinder Michael is a 36-year-old. I love the old-timey terms for it. We would say homeless, right? Or vagrant. Or, I mean, that's another good one, too. What's the classiest... Paco, maybe you can help me. What's the very blue-haired left-wing way to say homeless person now?
unhoused person.
Temporarily unhoused.
Temporarily unhoused.
Temporarily
Okay,
unhoused.
you know what? I get that. But they're never going to top the old line for it. When you can just be like, oh, that tramp.
Ah, tramp.
A tramp? That's the nicer one, man.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's got a little adventure to him. He sounds like he's got a Tom Waits hat and he sings
Yeah,
to us.
right. Riding the rails.
You're telling me you got Jack from Titanic? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Yeah, tramp has much more adventure to it than unhoused person. So anyway, he's a 36-year-old tramp from Wales who will die of pneumonia. Okay, I did say rat poison before. It's a sad life for this guy. He's so hungry that he eats breadcrumbs and cheese out of a rat trap. That's how diabolically hungry this guy was. And it's not enough to kill him, but he's not a healthy guy to begin with. He's going to succumb to pneumonia. Pneumonia, super, super important. You know why, LP, right?
Yep.
All right, go ahead, tell the people.
Pneumonia, because with pneumonia you have fluid in your lungs.
Which would make him the perfect candidate to seem like he had died of some
Drowning.
sort of... Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Mike Harrington, I want you to think hard on this one real quick.
I don't think I need to.
It's
Be honest, this one kind of solves itself, KP.
Dude, we're going to go on a creative writing assignment here, and we're going to take Glinder Michael, and we're going to say, oh, it's terrible that this man died of eating rat poison and then fell and succumbed to pneumonia here.
Truly. So we're going to bury him with honor, right?
Well,
Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? Now, he's a homeless kid. He's 36. His parents are all dead, so there's nobody that really has to worry about the body. No one's trying to give him a proper burial.
Yeah, he's homeless. He's has no family. He's got no he's the Lone Ranger for sure.
He's the lottery ticket for this very, very important mission known as Operation Mincemeat. He is the golden ticket here. If they did not get this lucky break here, where this homeless tramp
Died of pneumonia.
is with no family, that's the key on this one. There's no shortage of bodies they could use for something like this. However, there's ethics that comes into play on this one. There is an actual fear. I did not know this was the exact term. I had heard it once or twice. This is the term they said, we thank God this guy's here, otherwise we were going to have to pull a Burke and Hare. You know what Burke and Hare was? Burke and Hare, you know this?
No.
Burke and Hare was a duo of grave robbers that used to dig up dead
Oh, right,
bodies.
right,
And then they
I
just
remember
started
Burke,
making
yes.
dead bodies.
Yes, and
Yeah,
then they started,
that's right.
eventually it
Business
turned
is
into that.
good.
So Burke and Hare was a couple Irish scumbags that would bring the bodies to Scotland because Scotland was a epicenter of
Medical research.
at the time. Yeah, so those creepy, weird things where there's like stadium seating, if you will,
Right.
as everyone's looking down while a body's being dissected. You need fresh corpses and fresh cadavers for that. So Burke and Hare made
They
a
were
lot
the-
of money providing.
They were your guys. I got a guy for that.
I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. So they're afraid they're going to have to do something creepy like that. Luckily, I can't believe I'm saying this sentence. Luckily, this homeless guy dies from rat poison. And then we don't have to go down that weird,
and
unethical
pneumonia.
road.
The pneumonia part is key, though.
Incredibly important. Pneumonia is going to allow it to appear that this man has drowned. Now, is this man who drowned in his own lungs, technically, is this Glinder Michael, a homeless tramp from Wales, or is this, perhaps, Royal Marine Captain William Martin from Her Majesty's Royal Marines?
Well, if that's what his papers say, then it must be.
Perhaps we could draw up a couple of papers. Perhaps we create a fake identity for this heroic officer in Her Majesty's Marines.
And none of the driver's license had pictures back then.
That's a good point too, man. Dude, they got his identity. It had to be a chick that they hired to write up the fake identity. Because
Okay.
what you want to talk about attention to detail. They gave him love letters that he had written to his
Right.
girl back home. They had personal correspondence in there. They also gave him tickets to the theater because he's an officer. So when he's returning from this voyage, he's going to go to the theater and probably take his sweetheart with him.
Right.
Odd that he would have them on him while he was being thrown overboard on a ship or whatever, but
I think they made it look like he was a crashed pilot, right?
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Which ties into what you were saying
Yeah.
before. So they're always going to want to fish out a drowned pilot, if you will. But they make it look like he drowned, okay, which is great because if they do an autopsy, pneumonia is going to show that there's fluid in the lungs. That's only going to make the story more concrete.
right.
So, guy's got theater tickets, love letters, pictures of his loved ones, if you will, and coincidentally, some very upper echelon back and forth correspondence between some generals that are announcing, hey guys, the plan to invade Sardinia and Greece and the Balkans is underway.
Ooh,
That's,
okay.
that's where we're going to hit Hitler.
So that's fake intelligence, by the way. So we planted
Interesting.
fake intelligence on a homeless dead guy, and we gave him a fake identity, put him in uniform, made it look like he was official. And I can't imagine being on this mission. I was on some weird shit in the Navy. All right. My ship was almost brought in for the Captain Sullivan story. That's a true story.
Okay.
It was, it wound up being another ship from our battle group, if you will. But I couldn't believe that this was real here. The British are going to have to bank on a couple of things in order for this highly false but seemingly credible intelligence to fall into German hands. They decide that they're going to take the HMS Seraph, Seraph. And is Serafina named after that submarine, by the way, Dom? Is that possible? That's So anyway, they take this submarine and they're like, hey, what are we loading on today? Tell me it's weapons. I hope we get potatoes. Anybody got cigarettes? No, but there's a dead homeless guy from Wales.
No, a dead Marine captain. A Marine captain at this particular point in time.
I'm sure they couldn't tell the guys on board the sub that they were.
No.
You had to keep mission secrecy to that.
Nobody knew what that package was. That was under wraps for sure.
OPSEC, baby.
Yeah.
So the HMS Seraph pops up, it surfaces, if you will, off the coast of Spain. And British intelligence had to bank on this. They're like, yo, Spain's not in the war, but Spain is definitely sympathizing with the Germans.
Okay.
They are just a couple of chatty old queens. They can't keep their mouths shut. If we float this dead body over there and Spain recovers it, this is going to get to at least German intelligence is going to find out about
Yeah,
this.
I mean, Spain was one of the reasons why leading up to the Second World War, with the Ernest Hemingway going over to Spain to fight with the well, it's escaping me right now, but that was a war before the war kind of a thing.
Yes, it was.
in Spain. So
You're talking Hemingway and Gellhorn type frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the submarine goes out, it surfaces, it throws the marine overboard with all the proper paperwork and everything else, and the intelligence that we're going to hit Greece and we're going to hit Hitler in the Balkans.
And Hitler's afraid of this because he goes, I don't know if I can keep the Balkans. So they're going to react. The body is found by a Spanish fisherman who brings it ashore. They immediately get it over to the Nazi spies over in Spain, right? That there's a Nazi office there.
Intelligence, right.
But it's a legitimate office that they're running over there. They're clearly, Spain is saying that they're neutral, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's, so anyway, they know that this is going to fall into enemy hands. They can't believe the luck that they've had. Oh, Hitler, guess what we got for you? The fake identity is going to hold up under scrutiny, right? And the fake intelligence will go all the way. You're a homeless dead guy in Wales who ate rat poison, and now your posthumous life has reached the ears of Adolf Hitler.
For king and country.
Honestly, it's one of the greatest runs I've ever heard for a post-mortem.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right, it's like, what could his life have amounted to up to that point if you die eating rat poison out of a rat trap, you know?
I was just trying not to get another shift down at the Glory Hole. Now here I am helping to win the Second World War.
This is what I'm saying,
This
right?
ain't so bad if you ask me.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I'm just walking around. I'll tell you, you eat the rat poison and you think you're going to die, and then you die, but you become a hero in the process.
Right.
Dude, it works. I can't believe that it works. The dead body gets picked up. The fake intel gets all the way back to Hitler. Hitler goes, oh, I've outsmarted the Allies again. Luckily for us, we have Captain William Martin. Oh, poor boy, he gets shot down. He's just happened to fall into my hands, and now I know that you pieces of shit are coming for me. You're trying to hit me right in the Balkans, but you're not going to get me in the Balkans. I'm going to take all my troops in Sicily, and we're going to move them to the Balkans and Greece and Sardinia, and now I've outsmarted you yet again. Where were we going, Dad?
Sicily.
Where were we going?
And this works. This has far-reaching effects because now Hitler moved troops out of Sicily to help protect what he thinks the invasion coming into Greece. Patton sends, comes ashore into Sicily and takes Sicily. That now we're going right up the Italian boot after Sicily. Patton gets himself into a little mix-up after Sicily and in the Italian campaign that he slaps a guy in the medical tent, kind of a thing. The Germans can't believe, because the Germans feel that Patton is the best American general that they have, because he just kicked our ass in North Africa, and now he just kicked our ass again in Sicily, and now he's coming up the Italian boot. He's coming for us. Once you get through Italy, what's next? Well, you're into Germany. You're going to have to bypass Switzerland, but that's another story.
Right.
But the Germans feel that Patton is the best that America and the Allies have, and they can't believe that that they thought that was false information. That's got to be propaganda. That's got to be bullshit. That they're going to remove.
They're going to sideline
Hitler.
their best
They're
general.
going to sideline their best general because he slapped the
Parcells is
soldier.
winning another Super Bowl, but he won't be allowed to
Yeah.
coach because he called a player the FAG word.
But this whole psyops deception kind of a thing just leads into more and more the same shit, because there's another operation that this whole thing with the homeless guy works so well, that we're going to continue to feed Hitler false information, and he keeps biting on it, that this Operation Fortitude, which is another psych job, that now that they've taken Sicily, they've taken North Africa, they've taken Italy, now they're coming for us big time in Europe. Where are they going to land in Europe? The closest to England is Calais. Hitler's firm belief is that, that the Allies are going to come across the English Channel and hit Calais and in the southern end of France. Or maybe they're going to go on a roundabout and come up to Norway, because Germany already controls Norway at this particular point in time. So, and their firm belief is they really don't care what the American papers say about Patton being removed from sideline from the big game here, that he's their guy. So they set up another whole.
We have so many good psyops that are like, this is a psyop, and it was actually real.
Yeah.
Continue.
Here's a new psyop for you, that we're going to set up this whole false army, this make-believe army, and Patton is the guy that's in charge. Now, meanwhile, Patton truly was sidelined, but they make him on paper appear that he's now in charge of this whole new army.
The Ghost Army.
The Ghost Army. They've got
Taco,
tanks.
can you
they got
bring up
planes,
the Ghost Army, a
they
photo
got-
of that, please?
They got landing craft. They got all kinds of shit, and not just in southern England, because this Operation Fortitude, there was Operation Fortitude North and Operation Fortitude South. So they had somebody else on the northern end, and they were, make-believe armies, fake armies, false armies in Scotland, thinking that they were really, Scotland at this particular point in time in history was beyond German aircraft capability kind of.
There you go.
To do flyovers, yeah. So
That's your inflatable tank
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
good. They had inflatable tanks. They also would paint on the ground to make it look like from above that's a 3D plane that's
Right.
down there, or
And-
like a fleet of planes.
Right.
It
Is
was
this not
really just
Genghis
paint on
Khan's
the ground.
move of multiple
Yeah.
campfires for every 10 soldiers?
Right.
I mean, it's all the same playbook here. And I cut you off on Scotland. I'm sorry.
no, we had Operation Fortitude North, which was in Scotland. Well, that was the idea with that, and the Germans had no way of, from aerial reconnaissance or something. It was in its infancy at that particular point. They couldn't tell whether that was a real army or not, but they had false radio communication back and forth. They had all kinds of stuff going on.
That's
They had
nuts.
road signs. They had, an inflatable airplane, right? That
Kind of looks like something else. Maybe,
that
yeah,
it looks like it was made out of silly putty or something,
a
right?
little silly putty, a little bit of it looks like a pocket pussy of some sort. This feels like a sex toy that maybe early on sponsored Rogan's podcast.
Well, that's in your mind, but anyhow. But
It's a
yeah,
Rorschach, Dad. It's a Rorschach.
But this army in the north in Scotland was supposedly the ones that were going to lead the invasion into Norway. So now Hitler's moving troops up to Norway. So he's trying to protect many different fronts, and still convinced that Patton is going to be the guy that's going to be leading the invasion into Calais.
Harrington is foaming at the mouth right
Well,
now.
there
Meanwhile,
was,
they were going into Normandy.
so there was another fella from I remember hearing about this. There was a dude who was like Bulgarian or Romani something, but he initially wanted to be a spy for the Allies. Went to the Allies. The Allies said, "No, absolutely not. Get out of here." So he went and joined the Nazis, became like a top fighter pilot or whatever for them, and then came back to the Allies and was like, "Here's all my codes. Will you let me be a double
Oh, you
agent
sent me
now?"
this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then finally, he's one of the ones who brought the intel to Hitler's or Hitler's intelligence that the invasion, I believe, was going to be coming into Nice, or it was either Nice or Calais. I can't remember which one, but it was like that guy was very instrumental into like he had given them. He would routinely get them messages that would like they would be the right information, but they would arrive 2 or 3 days late, so that they could like they would be like, oh, this guy actually has the right stuff. If it gets here in time, we need to act on this.
Right.
Yeah, they're coming to Nice. Patton's always talking about his niece. He can't shut up about his niece.
Yeah.
Very rewarding if you're a listener of the show on
Yeah,
that
right,
one,
there
folks.
you go.
Solid.
LP, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it was just that.
Thank you, Harrington.
That with all the different psychops that they were pulling on this guy, Hitler was so convinced that the invasion was going to come at Calais that it wasn't set until 7 weeks after the Normandy invasion that they finally said, you know what, Normandy, that wasn't a feint. He thought that was it was just like a fake out move, like, cut left and go right kind of a thing. That it was until 7 weeks later that they finally came to the realization that we missed it.
Our ankles have
It
been
really-
broken.
It really is coming in at Normandy. That is the real invasion, and wasn't just a fake out move. And they were still
I saw it say for pre-gaming.
right. So now that they've established the beachhead and they've got all kinds of men and munitions coming into Normandy, that oh shit.
A lot of the
we missed
guys
that one.
from Operation Fortitude, by the way, were either later gainfully employed by Hollywood or were Hollywood people that were contributing
Absolutely, they
special
were-
effects and
a lot-
stuff
they-
like that.
they
Magician
hired a lot of-
Jasper Melnick.
That's
One
yes.
of my favorite people.
Yeah, dude, he deserves his own episode, so I don't want to burn him on
True.
this one.
But they had a lot of Hollywood movie set people that were making these false. It wasn't really just a screen; it was a movie set. That it wasn't a real barracks or anything. And but they had roads, barracks, they had landing craft, they had all kinds of all kinds of stuff, as if this was the army that was going to be leading the invasion. Meanwhile, it was a phantom army; it was a fake army. Pretty cool stuff, but
and it worked.
that's a psych out. That's a psych out.
So
for
we've
sure.
come a long way from Alexander the Great making giant fake armor so that no one will chase him during a retreat because they think they have Wemby on their side. You know what I mean?
It goes right back to the Trojan War, the Trojan horse. That was like, oh look, they gifted us with this beautiful horse on wheels, and meanwhile they got all the guys inside, hiding inside, and once they're inside the gates, and all hell breaks loose. But
Oh yeah, I mean you're sitting there thinking that you just lost a battle to the great warrior Achilles. You find out it was a chick the whole time. It's insane. LP's not going to get that one, but
Sorry, I wasn't even listening to you. I was looking for my notes here because there was one other guy that was very instrumental in the early days of the OSS. That this again, while Bill Donovan put in charge, and this was a banker, so he wasn't an army guy, but Alan Dulles.
Harrington knows this guy's name.
Was put in charge of
banker, you
part of the
said.
OSS in Switzerland, and it was through his office that we first got wind of a lot of the concentration camps that were going on with Nazi Germany, and also the V2 and the V1 rockets and the potential Nazi jet aircraft came through Alan Dulles in the Switzerland office.
Just keeping an ear out at the bank.
Yeah, and then
Guys love
later
to talk at the bank.
Yeah, that's right.
They're tellers.
Yeah, well, they're bringing this stuff home, and then a lot of the special ops, if you will, went out through into the underground to help with the pre-invasion stuff with blowing up key key structures and Germany not being able to send in reinforcements and all that kind of stuff. But Alan Dulles then later becomes in charge of what the OSS morphed into, which was the CIA.
And now he's got an airport named after him.
No,
It's named after his brother.
That was
All
his
right.
brother.
I got owned on that one.
Who also had political connections with the Roosevelt. I think it was the Roosevelt administration. But Alan Dulles was the CIA guy, and he was also involved with various coups in Guatemala and everyone else, and a little thing called MK Ultra.
Exactly.
You said Cree, and that made Dom pay attention.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to land this plane real quick because Harrington has to bail. Larry Burke's going to be on YKWD and probably audition at the Cellar later and get passed on his first try. Yes, he's also going to be at Skankfest, folks. It's just all of my dreams coming true for him. That being said, what we're trying to do here, guys, is show you how little tiny things that were being done in ancient times got absolutely put on steroids, for lack of a better term. World War II is the absolute heroic use of psyops. There are people that say it was the last good war. I don't know if I fully believe in that idea, but I will say this. Almost everybody that is a hero in the World War II era of this story, almost every single one of them becomes a villain with the shit they're about to pull in the 50s and the 60s. We're going to get into that stuff and more next week as we lead up to Vietnam, which has some of the craziest psyops I've ever heard of. We're going to have to revisit with our pal Michael Aquino. And then, of course, eventually, I promise you, this series, you don't know how yet, but it's going to end involving Metallica and the band Drowning Pool. Harrington, where can people find you?
You can find me online at the M Harrington on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm going to be at Melrose Ballroom with the Armored League. I believe it's July 23rd, whatever the last one of the last Thursdays of the month is. Head on over to thearmoredleague.com for tickets.
Absolutely, man. LP, we're going to have a great Father's Day. We got some flank steaks with your name on them.
Yeah, we're going.
All right, hang out with your grandkids and stuff. We're
There
going to have
you
a good
go.
Father's Day.
There you go.
All right. Harrington, you got something else? Bud?
Well, I mean, if anybody else, if you are thinking about something to get for the father in your life, why not a subscription to Gas Digital where you can get over 200 episodes of this podcast not available anywhere else? Use promo code LOSER, save about $1.50 a month.
He's the best. I love
There
him.
you go,
He
man.
really
That
is.
was slick.
He's
Man,
better than me.
nice
That's the
slide
trouble
on
on
that
that
one.
Also, another great gift for your father here if he's a history guy. History Isn't Boring, Your Teacher Was. It is my book. I gave away my last copy to last week's guest, Joe Walkowski, who also has a book out there called Honolulu Blues, The History of the Detroit Lions. Do me a favor, folks. Buy that book. Buy my book. Do whatever you guys want to do. But if you're in Dover Beach, Delaware, if you're going to be down Delaware's version of the shore, Paco and I are going to be there on Tuesday, June 23rd. I'm going to be doing the headliners. I've been doing this gig for about 4 or 5 years now. It's one of the most fun gigs of the year. Paco's going to get a girl pregnant. It's going to be awesome. All right, so that is the Starbird down in Dewey Beach. That show, I think, is 9 o'clock on Tuesday night. We're going to figure out a way to work around the schedule here, so we're obviously going to miss a recording on this, but we will have an episode for you out this week. The show's my absolute joy. Paco's making it super fun for us again. Harrington's been here since day one. Dom is just the silent killer in the back. I can't do it without any of you. LP, this podcast has come a long way from long, hungover conversations I've had with you on the phone about what I want to do with my life.
There you go.
So thanks for being here, Dad.
Hey,
All right.
Thanks for being here, too.
Absolutely, man. So, folks, we'll see you guys next week. We're continuing this chaos that we're going through with these PsyOps episodes, but it's too much fucking fun. That was Operation Mincemeat, American Loser.
On the edge they take the throne, built on bones of those unknown. Counted first, never last, still erased from the past.